Right, good morning. I'm your host, Dylan Miller, and welcome to How to Create a Content Marketing Strategy and Systemize. So it's welcome everybody, and you all here today. Let's start. So, okay, a couple of reminders. It's a presentation. I know it's going to take minutes. At the end of the day, this will all be posted online, so you can redo it and rewind it and play it. Please, at the end of the day, if there's any more questions, you can stop and ask. Stop at any given point in time and just raise your hand or send me a note and a message. And in the information that you would like me to cover in detail at a later stage, please reach out and send me some information, and we can put something. Just on a couple of course content on my side, what I'm going to do is just take us through why content it's actually so important, some stats on content, when we're looking at content and how it fits into the inbound marketing realm, and with regards to the marketing in a general. And then I'm going to go through how to create a content marketing strategy. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, as I'm going to be spending a lot more time to how to systemize the actual content, or systematize it, which will be creating an entire process for your content to actually go. Just a little bit about me. I'm Dylan. I'm your host. I am a strategic marketing consultant for Strategise. I've been around 5 years of business expertise, mostly in the FMCG and technical realm. It's more of a technical type of product, which deals in both on the technical side and then sales and the marketing side. And later on, with digital marketing and inbound marketing, I've become HubSpot inbound marketing certified, which I find actually very fascinating. On my journey, I've been able to pick up a lot of new systems and processes. Some of them must be a lot more unconventional than others. When you start putting them into action and actually start working with them, it's amazing to see the actual results. Instead of doing a lot of detail-driven stuff, if you're a marketing manager or managing a team, you would love to find ways to create a simple system to have effective management right throughout and manage all the outcomes. So some of my contributors and publications, I've got information published in the Consumer Buyer Behavior Pearson's book. It's 2 years ago. I joined some global partners, and we put together information and articles that have been published internationally. And just on what Strategise stands for: vision, mission, and philosophy. So vision, South African in nature, but with a global footprint. A lot of my clients are in India, Israel, some new ones in Africa, and obviously then within South Africa itself. Mission itself is to work through a clearly defined critical thinking process. At the end of the day, stand by the tagline, calculate, don't speculate. And that comes through by looking for ways to quantify marketing outcomes and results and put it through a process that you can have checks and balances to see how you derive those answers. This entails us to make greater leaps forward, especially in strategy, no matter what type of strategy it is. In this, it could be content strategy, or it could be an overall business, a strategic business plan, or a marketing plan, or whatever type of strategy you've got. It's important to have the checks and balances put into place and be quite analytical and process driven, so that you don't have a system that you go and take 6 steps back or 3 steps back at some stage because you've decided you've hit a brick wall and you've had to do a wrong turn. The time of money, resources that goes into an endeavor like that, usually that normally is an outcome of somebody that's, or company or business that doesn't have a sound strategy put into place for anything. Philosophy, the philosophy is really to use the systems and tools that are available, find new systems and tools. And one of the things that I've been advocating internationally is on the marketing side is really to capitalize on the systems and tools so that marketing and marketing managers and marketing directors can spend more valuable time at what matters most, which is the actual customer itself. So use the systems and tools and the CRMs that are available and the analytics and the information to really cut through the clutter and allow us to systemize all of the mundane things that we know we can actually let go to a point, and then allow us to concentrate on really what matters most is the customers. What I find is the customers are changing, markets are changing. So I'd rather spend more time on building customer profiles and speaking to the customers and understanding where the customers are and what is driving them to make certain decisions, which then can inform your tactical strategy or tactical marketing plans a lot better, which will yield more sales. Okay, so in section 1, we're going to go through why content is so important. I just wanted to stick some nuggets in there and some interesting stats, and then how to create a content marketing strategy. At the end of the day, if you said you wouldn't build a house, you wouldn't build a house without a plan. You would need a blueprint. You wouldn't have a sculpture build something or craft something without a sketch. And the company wouldn't start without a mission statement, if you like to call it. So why is content any different? And one of the reasons why I'm putting this out is that in my endeavors with my clients, I find a lot of the guys are almost a knee-jerk reaction to the markets. We know we need to do the information. We know we need to generate. Marketing managers wear multiple hats within an entire organization. If you don't have the systems put into place, you would end up having knee-jerk reactions where a lot of information is left out, and you'd have a lot of stop and start. And that really hinders the engagement factor with regards to how we engage with our clients, how it's relevant content in the right places and the right channels to gain that trust, to engage and to create customers, and then from customers goes into creating advocates out of them. So why is content so important? Content is one of the reasons why is content is the creation of the ultimate inbound marketing side. It's a pivotal point. If you think the content, I'd like to call it the brains to a business, and could be any business. It certainly would be the thought leadership and the brains of the entire operation. In a service-driven industry, physical evidence becomes your content, and that content needs to be put into various different places. And those are the reasons why the content will start swaying and persuading people to purchase from you. Retaining existing customers through quality engagement is another big one. So the marketing role, from right back when we looked at marketing, which was transactional, way back in the early in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and I think towards the mid 90s, late 90s, it started in towards 2000. We could start seeing a shift 2010, it definitely started shifting where marketing has become less transactional and more of managing the engagement factor, looking at how do we attract, how do we close deals, how do we manage the entire customer journey. A lot of that is done digitally nowadays, and through the inbound marketing system with the use of CRMs and other information, we need to use content itself to channel and steer those particular customers all the way through to a customer status for them to purchase from us. Some interesting stats. One of the arguments, and I'm going off script here, is the old days we had content is king. One of the new things is a lot of guys will say there's too much content out in the universe, in the world. I agree with both statements. I would say even further that is too little of the right content for the right company and too much content of everything else that really doesn't make a difference and matter. And I think that is indicative of a lot of businesses and firms not having the correct content marketing strategy put into place. It seems to be one of the elements that is left out and becomes a knee-jerk reaction of, can I buy some space and put that into a journal? What can I do? I'm going to do a few posts. They're not really that engaging. But at the end of the day, it's a case of, have we actually sat down and looked at everything properly and analyzed and seen what actually lends to what type of content pieces lend on which platform, and how you should be communicating what the customers really do want from us going forward. So some interesting stats is content marketing brings in 3 times more leads as traditional marketing and costs 62% less. That's on average, and it's a lovely stat. That means that we can have less reliance on Google AdWords, paid advertising, all the way through to publication advertising. If we become masters of our own destiny and have a complete content marketing strategy put into place and have rich content that people want to consume, that will cost us 62% less than anything else we stick into the marketplace. And since it's coming from us, which is on our own channels for any type of content for company, that would generate 3 times more than actually putting out paid advertising, which I really do find is a remarkable stat. And at 126%, small, medium businesses, the SMBs, that use marketing get 126% more leads than those that don't. A lot of this, you would find a lot of your tech type of company would end up using this quite extensively, and the leads that they do generate out of it will yield exactly that. I think from any type of business within South Africa and abroad, I think we can actually really start to use content, and if it's creating this type of data, it's something that we cannot ignore any further. 1% on online purchases are made as a direct result from customers reading a blog, which I also find is absolutely amazing. So online purchases, that will be a lot of your how-to. That's the best benefits thereof. It could be, if you're looking at tents, what's the best tent of 2022, and you see all of that type of information would actually come from a news blog somewhere in the world, where somebody has then put the information out to say, this is the best information, this is what's the latest of 2022, this is this particular product, the new fashionable trends, could be anything you like. But by and large, that means that your blogs and your news-worthy content is ranked, obviously, is a lot higher than a lot of your landing pages would obviously be. The other side is 3.5% of companies that publish 3.5 times. So companies that publish 16 plus blogs per month will yield 3.5 times more traffic engagement through their endeavors. So interesting stats, which I find is one of the compelling reasons why we need to look at content more seriously in any organization going forward. I wanted to stick this in. I won't spend a lot of time on it, and it will be in the presentations that you'll be able to get to after this. But it's a lovely spread of owned media, shared media, earned media, paid media, and the various different types of media all spawning from it, and how the medias really do overlap each other. I find this is probably one of the most graphic illustrations of content going forward, and very, it's a deep dive, and it's quite an elaborate picture of it, which I think you would find very, very useful. Now to the good stuff. So content planning. So in order to do a content strategy, we need to actually start planning our information. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I'm just going to put it in because it's going to be a key part of how we do content going forward. And part of content planning and strategy is setting up your content goals, identifying within your department what are your goals that you want to achieve, and those goals obviously need to coincide with what is the bigger organizational objectives that you want to achieve on the long term, short term, medium term, and then find out exactly how your departmental goals will fit into everything. Create a buyer persona. So understanding your customers is one of the biggest challenges. This is probably one of the aspects that a digital marketing team would spend most time on, is really understanding and building and continuously reshaping the buyer persona. Buyer persona is twofold. Buyer persona is great for digital marketing to understand exactly how to target a particular group of your customers. It is going to be a key pivotal role for generating and creating, maintaining and delivering the right content to the right target audience. And again, it is a key element of branding. And if you're doing a brand audit or a brand strategy, the buyer persona is one way, is a check system to see what is your marketing attracting, and you can get the analytics from that side, and then you measure it up to what you are intending to attract. And the gap between the two is going to be part and parcel of your brand strategy in a nutshell. So buyer persona, creating a graphical profile on your types of customers that you've got is going to be a key element on how to find out how you're going to then create what kind of content to serve that particular customer group. You need to rely on the buyer's journey, which is now inbound marketing, the awareness, consideration, decision stages, 3 fundamental stages that through the entire buyer's journey, you'll have the personas go through, and at every single stage of that particular awareness, consideration, and decisions stages, you would have different types of content that will serve those particular customers on their particular journey to becoming a customer at the end of the day. You need to perform a content audit, have a look at what is available, what don't you have, what do you want to come through. Some companies are blessed with too much content organically, and some companies are blessed with too little type of content. So that's the reason why a marketing department really needs to tap in as the centralized focal point of the entire organization, and really tap into all departments to start sucking the information in to marketing, which will then be used at a later stage to simulate new content. Customer service, for argument's sake, will be a valuable avenue for creating content from a testimonial perspective. Your service industry, your service department, your sales department, each has a role within the marketing realm to start to get that information in and start putting it into a hub and start getting your staff to go through it and see exactly what can be used and what doesn't, what can't be used, etc. So creating performing content audits, I think, is another key role of what marketers need to do going forward. you also need to choose the right formats. So choosing the right format will go into awareness, consideration, and decision stages. And you have to then choose the right format, whether it be an ebook, it will be PDF, it's going to be Word, it's going to be video, it's going to be a blog, it's going to be a recipe, or it's going to be a normal price list or catalog. So you take all of those particular formats, which is all going to be content. And then you're going to have a look at who are your creators going forward? Who have you got, and who do you need to still get? So smaller teams may use outsourced professionals, and a larger team will have various different mini departments within the marketing department that will have somebody that heads up social media, another will be heading up an element of digital marketing, the marketing director, the marketing manager, and everybody's got a role to play. You have content, you've got journalists, you've writers, bloggers, you name it. So you, depending on the size of your marketing department, will really, and the kind of content that you want to yield, will start to shape who do you need and who don't you need at the end of the day. And then you're looking at content promotion. Where are you going to stick the content? How are you going to promote the content? What kind of channels are you going to be using going forward? Some interesting information which I use is the first signs of content marketing go back way back down to 4200 BC. I love that one. That's cave paintings. The reason why I love that is that it shows content marketing is part and parcel of who our human history DNA is. We are inherent storytellers, and through the ages of us sitting on a campfire, around a campfire, telling stories, and those particular stories would have been everything from passing our genetic heritage from one group to the next group and pass it all the way up the chain. And that's who makes us today. So if it wasn't for that, content marketing would cease to exist. So if it's been existing since 4200 BC, why are we not using a lot of content today? Content marketing also helps with trust, which is on the middle side, and on an inbound marketing way. If you have a whole complete inbound marketing methodology, the strategic marketing and business process focus side will be creating and distributing valuable and relevant content at the right time, the right place, on time, all the time, every time. And if we had that kind of methodology with regards to what kind of content we're creating, and that's the kind of thought process involved, imagine how many sales and we would end up generating just through content. I think that will be the time. You might not ever really quantify exactly that piece of content yields that kind of result going forward. But I think when you're in a company and you've got that inertia rolling, and the company is just all of a sudden the sales are coming and coming and coming, and everything, it's an upward trajectory of everything, and it seems to be business is pretty easy, and the sales are just going. Started, and how a lot of the other companies have done, besides creating fantastic products. That's one way you get that inertia going. People start talking about it. Viral marketing is a direct result from content marketing. Reading the insightful blogs and information on websites and everywhere would be a direct result from content marketing, and that all comes from the marketing departments at the end of the day. So now I want to go through how to systematize content. Systematize is an interesting word. Really, it's just about taking something and organizing it into a system and making it systematic. So if we're looking at that itself, it was a case of how do we then create create the marketing side. So we've then created the planning for content and the strategy for content going forward. Now we want to take that planning and strategy and we say, how do we put it into a system, and how can we systemize our content going forward? And through my endeavors, I find a very interesting way of looking at a simple solution and how we can systematize. So systematizing content for me is looking at the Hero Hub Hygiene model. Hero Hub Hygiene model was actually created by Google for YouTube fan share. So it's really for that particular platform. It ended up being so successful and so simple that marketers are globally and around the world have started to adopt this particular type of methodology as a go-to for generating, for categorizing and ensuring that you can deliver the particular type of content going forward. And I do believe that this type of methodology is sorely needed in a lot of our companies that marketing has. So although it could have been, it was ideally set up for video based on YouTube, but it can be used for anything, lock, stock, and barrel. So we're looking at hero content first. And what hero content is a large scale projects that are done once or twice a year. And this is the interesting side of it. So hero content, if you're going to do something once to twice a year, how many marketing departments actually plan ahead towards and say, I'm going to do something 6 months and something towards the end of the financial year? And very, very few departments that I've come across that actually think like this and actually start putting in these types of plans going forward. A lot of the guys will use a short-term view on content on an Excel spreadsheet, which is nothing wrong. It's great. It's what we need to do, but it kind of loses the focus on where we are in the particular financial year. Hero content is very interesting inside. Giving an idea, some of the insurance companies, that type of insurance kind of company is data rich, gets a lot of data within the entire year. And a lot of the big companies have started to take that kind of data. What they do is they stick it into a report at the end of the year. So now you're taking all your content and you're making something public, but you're generating at the end of the year to say this is a 2022 psychographics or whatever data you got on this particular, on the various different industries. The kind of information that is then created is a wealth of data-rich information that is probably purchased, or they sell it at a cost to data houses like Nielsen and everybody else and Euromonitor at a price, because people will find some of that content actually useful. So that's just giving you one particular type of aspect going forward. I think at the end of the day, if we're looking at hero content, how many of us actually sit down and say, right, what am I going to plan that's going to take a little bit of resource and take my time, and I'm going to put in a little bit of budget towards it, and we're going to create something truly wow for our clients to really go out on a big drive and attract and do a maybe a once-off campaign or an engagement of some sort. And this is it. A lot of the people actually forget it. So on to the next, which is looking at the hub content. So hub content is regular, timely, expert-led content, which at the end of the day, targeted information. This could be a lot of email campaigning. This could be specialized blogs going out to various different persona groups. Highly targeted, so you know who your customers are. You've segmented your customer personas down to a fine art. You know which customer group wants what kind of product or service, and you've now created the kind of content that's going to be suitable for that particular niche. Let's call it within your entire plan. So if you're looking at all of this, and you can start categorizing that you've got something that you can plan for once to twice a year, then you've got something that's going to be regular, timely, let's call it monthly type of content that's going to be then created. And this is always actively pushed to your recipient. and it appears as regular, predictable intervals. So, I mean, we can use this for our blogs. We can use this for everything. So a lot of your blog information and targeted email campaigning, and then your targeted type of promotions and all that kind of content starts becoming your hub content. Then your next part of your content is now your hygiene content. So hygiene is always available content. It's going to be websites and product specification, brochure type of information. So a lot of your blogs, so a lot of this hygiene content is going to be for data search. It's going to be for attracting customers. It's going to be your regular type of supporting content. If it's going to be on the website, it's going to be for search engine optimization, SEO. If it's going to be a lot of your social media will then fall into this particular hygiene category. So now all of a sudden you've got an entire system and saying, I know where my social media goes and I know what to do. My social media will be hygiene, and that's going to be a plan of X, Y, and Z within the content plan. Then you've got your hub content, which is going to be monthly, regular, timely, and then you've got your hero content, which will be maybe once or twice a year. You're going to do something quite dramatic. I think the hero content, if you're sitting in a lot of companies would have, let's call it you do once a year, you have a big customer do, and the company arranges those golf tours for your customers. A lot of that kind of content, that would possibly also be part of your hero content on a smaller scale. Now, just looking at the graphical side, hero hub hygiene content. If we look at this from a pyramid perspective, you see your hero content is at the top of the pyramid. So it's going to be your go big content campaigns. Why? It's because you're going to deliver authority, brand awareness, and engagement. In the middle side, your hub content, which will be monthly, let's call it. Your monthly will be regular engaging content, and that's going to be for the benefit of improving awareness, engagements, and user experience. On the bottom tier, your hygiene content is going to be your possible daily type of content. Your social media could possibly come into here. It's definitely going to be SEO. This is going to be the content that people search for. And out of your content that people search for, this is going to be for boosting the depth of the site relevance and for your company relevance and for various different elements going forward. And that's in a nutshell is hero hub hygiene. I think one of the best benefits of systematizing your content towards a hero hub hygiene benefit is that if you're sitting with a large let's call it a large to a medium-sized department, what it will do is it's going to start promoting engagement in amongst the various different individuals and managers and stakeholders within that particular greater organizational marketing department. It's going to it's going to promote a better organizational departmental culture in the marketing side between the bloggers, between the content writers and the digital marketer, because the content needs to speak to digital, the website, and marketing manager oversees everything, and social media gets in on it. Somebody's going to make up ebooks, and somebody has to do all of these things. So what it really does is it starts to pull your entire marketing department together for the greater good of your entire department, number one, and for the company, number two. And just want to go through how to systematize this. So I've got a little bit of a workbook, and when I go through and the guys say, how do we actually put hero hub hygiene content into practice? Then it's actually pretty easy. And what I do is I turn around and say, we sit down together and we say, we got to strategize. What is our target audience? And part and parcel of that, who are we trying to influence, who are we trying to reach, we write that down. So understanding, again, what your persona is. And what are we going to be talking about? And what is the focus of your particular content? And whatever that is, you're going to start writing that all down. And who we are, and describe your firm or team in a sentence. So you put all of that information, and then from that will start giving us a little bit of an overview of what is the depth and the breadth of what we're going to be doing. Next is you then take your content and you start splitting it between your hero content, your hub content, your hygiene content. This could be a very simple split on an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to do Excel spreadsheet planning anyway for your content planning, and that part and parcel makes up your action plan for your strategy, your tactical kind of planning within your departments. Now, all we're doing is we're going to add in something a little extra that splits that particular content up into your hero content, which is what you're going to be doing annually. Your hub content is what you're going to be doing weekly or monthly, and your hygiene content is what you'll be doing to inform your clients to purchase. Now, if you think about that all of a sudden it's a wealth of information, a wealth of different types of channels and content pieces that you will then start pulling into those various different three quadrants. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, is as easy as 1, 2, 3. I find this quite revolutionary. It's so simple. It's easy to put into any department. Any marketer can use it, no matter how big or small you actually are. If you need any assistance and advice, you have my details. You can always send me drop me a line on this particular video, and I will reply in the comments. Alternatively, you can download this particular PDF, which will be on all my channels, and click on that particular contact button, and that's how you can contact myself. Thank you very much. I'm Dylan Miller, and that's it from me. Any questions I can answer with the greatest of pleasure after all of this, but thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you find this information truly revolutionary, and most of all, it's going to make your job a lot easier in setting up and structuring your content. Thank you very much.